Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paving the Way Volume 2. This is the research guy, Andrew Big Red, as Medusa calls me. But you're not all here to see me, you're here to see her. This is Medusa. Everybody, we have a great show planned, but we need to catch up with Medusa first and foremost. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Oh, you're so eloquent when you speak and so proper at the beginning. When you were so full of bullshit off screen before this even started. You 5 seconds to bitch or whatever it is.
Level 5, bitch, ma'am. We got to get
Okay,
our
got it.
trademarking right. If we're gonna plug it, we got to get it right.
Yeah, okay. That's true. That's true. Okay, so everything's good. It's been a minute since we spoke on Paving the Way. A lot has happened. So I know there's a few things that I want to talk about, and I'm sure that
Mhm.
you want to engage in, and then we're going to emphasize on, and we're going to try not to talk for 3 hours, but I can't guarantee shit.
Me
So, I
either.
mean, there's yeah, you and I are like fucking sister, brother from another mother. And so both with ADHD elemental PQ. So,
Oof.
oofta. And so I have there's a couple of subjects on here. I just want to put on blast. But I don't think this is the place for it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it goes. And I'm again, when I express my opinions, they're my opinions. I'm not trying to put thoughts in other people's heads and what they are doing. I'll only we never should assume, but when I'm explaining something, I only assume. Like I assume that they may be feeling this if this is the reason why they did that. But assuming can get you in trouble, so fuck there's that. Um, are we PG-13 or are we like PG-Z now? What are we here?
We're rated E for everyone, as I like to say. But we
Okay,
are
good.
explicit content. Fun fact, folks.
Explicit, that's good. Explicit, we're good. Good.
Fun
Explicit's good.
fact. Yeah, Medusa and I did a podcast, and she dropped the "See you next Tuesday" word, and I made a vagina monologues joke, and YouTube flagged it for explicit content. So I
Wait a
apologize.
minute. Wait, what? Wait, from last week?
The week before,
No.
when you made the joke, when you said you were talking about somebody and you said cunt, and we won't use this as part of our clip. And I said, if you've all seen the vagina monologues, you'll
Yeah,
understand
they
how
were
powerful of a
great.
word that is. Well, they didn't like your use of the word, so we had a minimal monetize from YouTube on that clip. They wouldn't put an ad in there because we used that word. So this is a peek behind the curtain,
Um,
everybody. So y'all get to see us. But
yeah,
I will.
now you can go back there now and keep fucking pushing the button
I'll
and
just
looking at it.
I'll just be more selective when we upload the clips. That's all. Um, but no, it was fantastic. Want
Someone
to make
corrected us. The first pave in the way was beyond PG.
It was definitely
Anything.
beyond PG. But we certainly appreciate all the participation. The chat's here, Medusa, and that's good because you have a couple things that you want to talk about up front in the show, and I'll help you out. Medusa.com, Queen of Carnage, the YouTube page where you will find our episodes of Trash Talk, more digestible pieces of Paving the Way in a 3-hour episode. But
Probably
this
where
is
we
your
can say the C word because I've never
uh,
got flagged over there before. I don't know. Okay.
well, it was your page that flagged us.
Oh shit! Was it really?
It
Damn
was,
it!
yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Oh,
So, I
never
mean,
mind.
guys,
Okay.
Medusa and I have a good time, and we want you to have a good time. So she's going to tell you about the YouTube channel that is Medusa and the Queen of Carnage.
Okay, guys. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. It is so good to be here for our volume 2, episode 2, whatever you want to call it. And the Medusa Queen of Carnage YouTube is pretty happening. We have Trash Talk going on over there. It's our sister podcast to this, where we actually not only do we say the C word, but we show pictures. And it's more like a scratch and sniff situation. So anyway,
Oh,
um,
my.
I just kidding. It's all kidding. I'm just saying all of that so they can't flag us. So trash talk is just getting down dirty and getting to the nitty gritty and the real guts of real conversations. Away from wrestling a lot too, basically. We cover everything from motorsports to I don't know to
Shake,
motorsports to sewing and grooming. I don't know, and politics. Politics is really good too. Um, that being said, and that's on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. What is it again? I don't remember.
we're doing 7 o'clock, but we've also said that we don't have to stick to a Tuesday schedule, and we want to try to do a little
Yeah,
reformatting on that sort of thing and talk about
yeah.
things that
Well,
really do
paving the way
pop
is
up and
every.
interest Medusa most.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I mean, paving the way is every other Tuesday, but trash talk is
That's right.
originally was on Tuesday. We kicked it off on a Tuesday, but whenever we got a hot topic, we're just going to pop in and do it. And so they're
Yep.
going to be popping in every which way to make it totally different from paving the way. So you might have a 10-minute segment or you might have a 50-minute segment on trash talk. So there's that. It's going to be fun and exciting and something to really watch. And let me tell you, Andrew is on point. Andrew has show notes. He has them beforehand. He's is gung ho, ready to go. And this is a man that's got a full time job plus another job plus another job, and he's just got it going on. And I'm really glad he was thrown at me purposely and just said, "Here, you deal with him," and it worked. So I'm the lucky one because I got teamed up with you, and it's such a good fit. Thank you for doing this so much.
I have a
Really,
blast, and I do. Like we guys, this is real talk, as I like to say. We have spent 5 hours recording together. We've spent time on the phone. We text every day.
all the
Um,
time, every day.
and Medusa has become one of my very good friends. And
Oh,
that is not bullshit. So like, and we think
oh,
alike, but we think differently
oh.
enough that we're not boring and we're not repeating the same things and all that stuff. So I certainly appreciate those comments, ma'am. I try to be prepared. I am the research guy. I cannot let my reputation, get besmirched or something. But
Smirched. Is that a word? Is smirched a word?
besmirched,
Okay. All right.
besmirched, besmirched.
All right. All
Uh,
right. I see. All right. We got
but
questions coming in. We're going to get to them shortly too, but we're going to have to kick off our program here. Before we do, we're going to have some merchandise that looks pretty good. T-shirts and whatnot there on One True Sport. And I already saw my t-shirt. Have you seen it yet?
I believe I have. Yes, ma'am.
Did you see
Yep.
the front and back of it?
Maybe not. No. Are you
No,
talking
then you
about
did.
Dominic? Oh no, no, no. He hasn't shown it to me. Okay, okay. I'll have
Oh,
to check it
yeah.
out.
Wait till you see the back. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
I'm gonna ask him
that's
what the hell they're doing. If I'm supposed to help you sell this stuff, I probably need to know it exists.
you probably will get
Speaking,
I'm maybe you might get one and maybe I might get one. I don't know. Then we can wear it. You know what I mean? On here. And then it'll say
yeah.
One True Sport. That'll probably fit just fine. Uh
Yep. And that is everything, like Medusa said, available at onetruesport.com, medusa.com. But I want to get into this before we jump into the show. The main
yes.
event tonight is the man called Sting, because we throwing it back to 91, 92 when he worked with Medusa. But before we get there,
Mhm. Mhm.
our colleague on One True Sport, one Magnum TA, has been very instrumental, along with Greg Gagne, in Power Town action figures.
Action
And
figures, yes.
the Queen of Carnage here is available for pre-order July the 1st. And listen to this lineup, guys. Jack Briscoe, the longtime NWA champion. Dory Funk Jr., the longtime NWA champion. Wahoo McDaniel, United States NWA champion. The Junkyard Dog, the man that made Bill Watts more money than he knows what to do with. And Kamala. Join Medusa in this pre-order exclusive available July the 1st. We will be making sure everybody knows where to find those pre-orders, because Medusa, this is no bullshit, and you know it too. Powertown sold out of the last ones. There are none available. So if you
Oh,
want these,
really?
you better get
Wow.
these. Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
the first time ever Medusa had an action figure out of all these years. First time.
You've never had one.
No, Medusa never had an action figure.
Well, Medusa has an
Never.
action figure now, Power Town, and the man she
Yes.
thinks a lot of, Magnum TA, probably had something to do with it. So,
Well, hell yeah. Yes, I worked with Power Town when we first began. We were all working behind the scenes in the office and stuff, and then they downsized and they just kept the guys in the front office, and I went off and did my own thing. We should be regrouping again as a team and start working with those guys again. But I've been hands on through the whole process of it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just seeing how everything was made, and these are really high quality dolls.
mhm,
Like, I
mhm.
mean, I call them dolls, action figures, whatever. They're doing a really great job. And the guy that actually started this is the guy from way back when that did the old Remco. I think it was the Remco with AWA days. So
Okay.
yeah, he's dabbling back in it, and so they came up with this, him and Greg and NTA, and oh my gosh, they're on to something. So hopefully they make a little bit more of this second. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be a cap on these or what, but I don't know. I'm going to order a bunch myself and just sell them out.
Well,
But
I
I'm
know
going to buy
this.
them out.
I will say I know this as you take a drink there, honey. Magnum
Yeah.
absolutely loves you and he loves these figures. I mean, they've put a lot of thought, like you said, effort, energy. These are not the $9.99 action
No.
figures that
No,
and
we're
they
mm-mm.
don't sell them for that anyway anymore. I get that. That's when I was growing up. But oh, and Dominic D'Angelo says Greg Gagne said Medusa was nobody to mess with. So Dom is in the chat. Hey
Oh,
Dom,
hi, Dom.
e-
Dom, where's that
te-
damn T-shirt?
text me Medusa's shirt because I look like a damn fool on this show, and I do enough of that on my own. So text me the shirt, Dom.
Yeah,
We love you,
Dom. I
buddy.
asked him, we said, hey, I said, did you see my T-shirt front and back? And poor Andrew's like, no, I guess I need to get with Dom. Yeah.
I saw the purple one that was established 1984, and I think we're moving on from that. So I want to see this other
Yep.
one. But
Yeah.
anyway, speaking of merchandise, things Medusa does, craziness in her life. I got to see a live 12-hour auction. I wasn't there for all of it, but Medusa, the Twitch stream that that you've got such a hardcore close knit family over there. You guys went 12 hours in a live auction this past Saturday. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so first of all, I've been doing Twitch for about 3 years, 3 something years, 3.5 years. And I just stumbled upon it through a guy named Q, which we call his name is Quentin, and his friend Jason. And we were doing like I was just starting to get together the thoughts of writing my book. And then this guy named Jason, I spoke to him about, putting together a documentary, Medusa's life or something. And we were just throwing things around. So we just did like just like a intro, you know what I mean? Like a clip. And we did a 3 to 5 minute um, intro documentary. It's like a little mini series. And so I went out to Missouri and met with Quentin and Jason. And then Quentin was a huge gamer. And so Q and I just fell in love with him and his wife, and Jason's married and they both have kids now. And so it's just a great family. So Q got me into, he goes, Medusa, do you game? And I said, well, not until I mean, when I was a kid, I used to do Pac-Man back in the day. And so he's like, no, you should really get into gaming. And this is right when all the COVID bullshit just barely started happening. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. So he wrote down and emailed me a list of everything I needed to get. And I mean, we're talking towers and mouse pads and, stream decks and keyboards and monitors and microphones and you name it. I didn't know one thing about any of that. So I ordered everything over the internet and it all came in and I had to put everything together myself, and it was like crazy. And then all of a sudden I started gaming And then Q got the people together. They're called mods, which are moderators. And you need them. So when you're talking kind of like chat, we got people watching. So if anyone's out of hand, they get ban hammered. We call it ban hammered. And so it just grew from there. And then I ended up having the same people now for about 3 years that are my mods. And I could not do it. We have a huge operation. So our year anniversary, we did a 24-hour stream. 24-hour stream our first year. And then our second, we went out, we didn't do anything. We just kept doing our thing, gaming, chatting, all that stuff. And then on the third year, just now, we did a 12-year. And within the 12-year, we had these little skits in there intermittently. So before I go any further, it's called the hashtag Mad Mod Squad. That's what I call them. And I have t-shirts made up with all of them on it. And they're family, man. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do it. So we were doing the 12-hour stream with the little skits in it. We wake up. I did a workout this time. We had MAD, is short for Medusa. It's called Mad in Love with the Sarge. And it was kind of like a game show. And it was like, how well do you know your partner? And let me tell you, we got heated. And so the fans got to ask, there's 20 questions. What's her favorite food, or what's his favorite, just wild, crazy shit. And he got a lot wrong, but I lost by 1 point, whatever. I still think that was rigged too. And then after that, I had a segment about grooming with Daisy, because I'm also a master groomer. I do, I groom show dogs, and I groom for the last 20 years, whatever. So I had a little segment on there, how to, grooming with Daisy, little bits on how to, clip your dog's toenails and how to groom and shave and all that other good stuff. And then we had an auction. So this auction is badass. It's by WebSmart Advisors, by Bill Trevor. He's the one that does my website. If you haven't checked out my website, you have to check out my website, because this guy is fucking awesome. It's Medusa.com, MADUSA.com. And then Bill put together this whole new platform on my website, and it's just for auctions, like real live bidding and auctions in real time. People were at bidding wars. Like it's so freaking cool to watch. We've had 3 auctions on there, and they were total success. Like, people in 5 minutes, every single person that bid on an item and won, they paid immediately within 5 minutes. Never been a problem. I mean, you have serious bidders on there. So we have everything from monster truck stuff of mine to monster truck parts to, helmets and fire suits. And then we have a lot of my wrestling gear, a lot of wrestling stuff throughout the years intermittently from Medusa. And for the first time, I put a Lundra Blaze wrestling outfit up. And man, let me tell you, that fucking bidding war. Boy, one guy got so mad because PayPal quit the bidding on one of the items at $5,000. And I didn't know that. And Bill's like, this is crazy. And so all of a sudden, PayPal sent a message to the web advisor, or to Bill. And they thought there was fraudulent going on, because everyone was paying all these high dollar items, like in split seconds. But anyway, we're going to have another auction. It's going to be down the road. We usually have like one a year or something, but the demand is really high. And so maybe in 6 months, I'll have another one. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. So that's a 12-hour stream. We play games, we chat, and my mods just come in and they talk and they take care of the community, and it's such a great community. And by the way, I am a horror flick gamer. I love horror flicks and movies. That's my jam. So there's that.
So there you go, guys. If you're a gamer, join Medusa on her Twitch channel. It is a very tight community. They've adopted me in, and I don't game. So, I mean, obviously, if you're a gamer, they're going to love you all, because they brought me into the fold. But now we're here for our preliminary card, Medusa. I think,
yes,
it's fun to let the fans in, your fans in, kind of what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little current, and then, because I am the wrestling research guy, what I would like to do is talk about a segment of your life and your career, of somebody you interacted with. And then tonight it's Sting. But it could be Bull, it could be
Yes.
Paul Heyman, it could be when you went to Japan and Aja Khan in the Kong, excuse me, in the shoot fight. Wonderful, wonderful ideas that we have. But tonight, because you're part of it and it's apropos, we're going to talk about the death of WCW Volume 3. The finale is
Okay.
tonight, guys, 10 o'clock. Um, this is all about, for those of you who haven't seen it, I won't spoil too much. Of course, this did happen 24 years ago or 23 years ago, so hopefully y'all are familiar. Vince Russo comes to the WCW. And setting this up, Eric Bischoff sent home September the 10th of 1999. And about the same time in the WWF, they're going to launch SmackDown. Ed Ferrara, Vince Russo. Ed Ferrara, you're familiar with, of course, is Oklahoma Medusa. And
Boy, how
so
can I not forget?
she's
Worst
obviously got a thought
fucking
there, folks. We'll circle back there. But Ferrara
mm,
and Russo are charged with the creative SmackDown. Vince Russo has stated over and again till he's blue in the face he was the head of creative. As long as there was a breath in Vincent Kennedy McMahon's body, I don't believe that. That's me. Don't believe that. The man vetoed Patterson. He vetoed Pritchard. He vetoed Briscoe. I promise he vetoed Russo. But Russo sold himself to Bill Bush, a 35-year-old financial guy,
mm,
as some sort of expert in creative writing and wrestling. And he decided when Vince told him to, you know, hire a babysitter, work harder, hire a babysitter, that he was gonna quit and he was going to WCW. Now that's been his story for 2 decades.
Can I scratch your back?
Um, yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely can. But that's been his story for 2 decades. And
And he's
folks,
sticking to it, brother.
yeah. And as I
Bro,
lay this out,
bro.
bro, I was gonna get there. As I lay this out, guys, if you have questions, put them in the chat about Vince Russo. Let's try to stay on topic with Death of WCW. If you want to use the super chat function and help Medusa out, we would greatly appreciate that. And I will make sure I get to as many questions as possible. So as we break this down, if you all have questions along the way, please, please, please put them in the chat. But in case, for whatever reason, nobody knows what Vince Russo looks like, there he is, bro, right there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Vince comes into WCW October of 1999. He argues that and this is the way they break the show down. For 3 months, WCW's ratings were up, whatever. But you got to remember, guys, twice as many people were watching Monday Night Raw as were watching Monday Nitro, because by this time, WWF is in firm control of the Monday Night War, the Nitro era, whatever you want to call it. WWF is winning, and they're winning big. Um, but Russo will argue that he um, got an uptick in traffic, and of course they put the
Mm.
show together where Bret Hart wins the world title with the Chris Benoit in the tournament, Mayhem. The reason for that, Medusa, is if I'm remembering this correctly, yes, I am remembering this correctly. Finger Poke of Doom happens January 4th, 1999. Halloween Havoc, Hulk Hogan lays down for Sting, which will lead to a
Mm.
subsequent tournament for the title. So, and we're going to get to Hulk in a minute or at some point probably, because we're going to talk about Bash at the Beach 2000, um, which is really a watershed moment for WCW. But anyway, getting to this tournament, gets to Goldberg versus Bret Hart. So that's 99. So that's Russo. Russo is fully in charge of WCW at this point. But very quickly, the shit hits the fan. And I want you to talk about this because you're a businesswoman. You've been a booker, a creative, an agent, whatever you want to call it. You've been in charge. You've helped people make decisions, lay out matches, etc. Uh, but Bret Hart gets hurt by Goldberg, the kick. They once again do another title thing where Sid ends up winning the title. He wrestles Benoit. Benoit wins the title because now Kevin Sullivan is booking because Vince Russo's been sent home. Well, the Radicals, as they called them, Benoit,
Mm.
Malenko, Guerrero, and Saturn did not want to work for WCW if they were not working for Vince Russo. At least that's the line. So Bill Bush granted them an unconditional release. Can you tell your listening audience first, what is an unconditional release? And had you ever heard of such a thing where you're going to release 4 of your upper mid card wrestlers and the world champion? Because he was an upper mid card wrestler till he won the title. You're going to release these 4 all at once, unconditionally, and within 2 weeks they're on WWF programming.
Okay. So who is that? Bill Bush, right?
Bill Bush, the 35-year-old financial guru who
Yes.
ended up becoming
Let him go.
taking over WCW. Excuse me.
WCW.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's another guy that didn't know, another clown that forgot half his paint on his face, right? So I would say that an unconditional is unheard of. It's never been done. I don't even think it's been done today. Fast forward, prior, before, during, whatever. And so I feel that Bush just didn't know what he was doing. And plus, it wasn't in their realm to have those guys, right? There's a lot of people there that were not pushing for the medium-sized guys anyway, right? And they didn't feel like they had a use for them. And so I feel that Russo really was giving those guys a chance, more so than before. I mean, you guys can call it and say it what you want, but Russo fucking was fighting for those guys like the other guys really weren't, right? So I can understand the guy saying why they didn't want to work unless Russo, because he was believing in them. So I think they were so talented, so overlooked, so underutilized that WCW totally missed the boat. I mean, here I am winning cruiserweight title championship, and you've got all these guys. Like, what the F is happening, right? So it's just bad. The whole situation was nothing but a shit show. So I thought it was great. Let them go unconditional. Why not? They got to go where they needed to go and they flourished, right? So, I mean, good for some, bad for the other. And thank God for the wrestling business, because they definitely were at the right place at the right time. I mean, who wouldn't want an unconditional release?
Yeah, unheard of. Sidebar real quick. Our buddy John Woodmass from across the pond has this question tonight. Evan Courageous Angle. That was something. How did that kick off, Medusa?
My belief was that I was married at the time, and to an NFL player, and he was a big dude, whatever, and they didn't. I spoke my mind. I was open. I wasn't like a bitch. I just spoke my mind. I did not put up with shit. And, you know, even though I was under contract, and if they said I had to do it and I didn't, I would be breaching contract and I would have been fined. So instead of me saying, fuck you, no, and doing the Oklahoma match and getting barbecue sauce, I could have said no or be fined, basically, you know? And I wasn't getting paid enough to pay them $10,000 to wrestle, really. So the whole Evan Courageous thing blew up in their face. So they probably thought, oh, she's married. Let's see, you know, let's throw her in an angle and have a love interest, which didn't even make fucking sense out of left field. Let's just do it. And we're going to do a cruiserweight situation. Well, it blew up in their face because it was the best thing that happened, because at least I won a championship over there. It may not have been the women's championship, in which Eric Bischoff promised me, but that never came to fruition. So whatever. And so, so when the love angle happened, he was what a great guy. What a great guy. He just went with it. I think he was married at the time, or just getting married or dating her, but any which way. And he was in acting. So he was, side job was doing some acting gigs. And so even that, his wife was cool, and my ex was cool, and it was a gig. And so since they didn't see any problems happening, that got cut short. And let me tell you, that angle was rocking there after a while. And then all of a sudden it was done. It was just weird. It's just weird. Whatever.
Yeah,
Right back at you.
certainly appreciate the question, John. Back to the story, because we're about to talk about your buddy Eric Bischoff, who promised you that women's title in
Yeah.
1995.
Yeah. Where's that? Yeah.
So after the unconditional release, Bischoff states he knew he was going to get a phone call from Turner. They were going to call him and tell him they wanted him back, and that call happens. Apparently, March
Yeah.
of 2000, Bischoff rejoins the company after a 6-month hiatus. Remember, he had been sent home September the 10th, 1999. 1999 was a shitty year in WCW wrestling, guys, and there's no other way to put it. But by 2000, by March of 2000, WCW,
I was sent home. So I don't know what went on. I collected a paycheck for a year.
yeah, WCW was a coffin on roller skates at this point, as Tony Schiavone
Yeah.
calls it, and he was 100% correct. Um, but Russo and Bischoff agree to work together. They reset the company in April of 2000 when they do the on-air joining and a union in Denver, Colorado at the Pepsi Center. I was at the subsequent Thunder, and let me tell you about piss poor wrestling. It was awful. That show
Really?
was horrible. They paired off the Millionaires Club versus the New Blood. We had Ric Flair wrestling Shane Douglas, but it wasn't even a wrestling match. Flair comes out in slacks and a suit. Sid Vicious was there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there was hardly anybody there. I sat back by the cameras. But anyway, they agree to work together. They reset the company. They make Jeff Jarrett the world champion.
Okay.
And Jeff Jarrett's going to get into this match, of course, and it's going to bring up one of the more infamous things because he's going to work with Bischoff, and they're going to work in a 4-way or a tag match against Diamond Dallas Page and longtime wrestling fan and actor David Arquette, who is the star of Ready to Rumble, WCW's movie. Medusa, what do you think about the use of Arquette and making him the world champion? This is the title carried by Dusty, by Flair, by Sting, by Ron Simmons, by Rick Rude carried the belt but never was recognized as a title, by Hulk Hogan, by Randy Savage, by the Giant. David Arquette, May 2000, wins this world title. Your thoughts, ma'am?
Okay. So I think with the whole Ready to Rumble movie and having Arquette involved goes deep. And so maybe there was connections there for that. Maybe we need to get Arquette on there and let's get some clean answers for sure, right? And so I would say that David loves wrestling. He does. And by the way, he's a great guy. I love his acting. However, as a person, from what I've, been around him, speaking with him, he's pleasant. He's a pleasant man. But I think it was kind of, just kind of a rub to him saying, "Hey, thanks for doing what you did, or, for the movie." If he had any hands in it, let's say, per se, and let's make him champion, and maybe it was kind of a rub. I don't know. I don't have the exact answer, but I'm sure Mr. Arquette would. Maybe he'll tell us someday. So, because we never heard from him. Has he ever done an interview about it? Maybe we need to find out what some of those clips are.
Yeah, they have him on there, but he didn't really want to be the champion. He's gone in subsequent, moments and said he did it for the publicity for the movie, kind of like what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quite frankly, I want to ask you a follow-up to what you just said. If WCW is in such a bad situation, if it's on life support, if the company is in a bad spot financially or just not getting people to watch, why not try something outside the box? Like putting the title on David Arquette. Would it matter? I mean,
Why
this is going to
not
be
to see if yes, exactly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but exactly.
Oh, you're fine.
You have a good point there. Let's think outside the box and let's put it on him and let's get different eyes, maybe from Hollywood. Let's get different people watching this. Let's get a whole new just attraction. And it kind of worked, right? I don't know. Has WWE or WWF back in the day ever had a celebrity become a champion up until that point?
I don't You're putting me on the spot. I'd actually have to do a little
See?
digging.
And maybe Arquette was the first one out of both of them, and look what happened, right? And then later you'd see JT, you'd see David what's his name? McMichael, Stephen McMichael, and all of them starting getting involved with the wrestling.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, good point. And I think, like I said, the Ready to Rumble movie was fine. The WCW movie was fine. Turner's a television company, for Pete's sake, so
yeah.
they're gonna lean on what they know. Um,
Oh,
you
they
just
really did stretch their demographics, though. I think once they did that, and it opened it up for later things, like for the movie The Wrestler, and it just started going. But let's start there. Ready to Rumble wasn't the first wrestling movie. There was tons of movies before. In fact, if you've never seen the movie Lipstick and Dynamite, you might want to go check that out. I mean, I am trying. I just, yeah, just go check it out. I want to revamp that. I want to redo it. I want to take that movie and bring it in today's world. Lipstick and
nice.
Dynamite, baby.
It's on the list now because I actually have never seen it. So, I watch wrestling. I don't watch a lot of wrestling movies. I'll be honest about it.
But look
Um,
what's happened and what's going on with all these wrestling movies, right? And then you had Saraya and the one about her that Dwayne did,
mhm.
and then now you've got the Iron Claw. I mean, people find wrestling fascinating in the lifestyle. Everyone is so unique and different. Do I want this to be a story? God, hell yeah. I mean, book number 2 coming out. It gets juicier.
Yeah, I mean, we will buy it again. Um, we will buy it again. And looking into where we're at we're at Slamboree, obviously. Arquette turns on DDP. Jeff Jarrett wins the title back. Now, this is the 4th or 5th time they vacated the championships in the last 6 months, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and now we're here at Bash at the Beach. Hogan wins the number 1 contender match. He is on the pay-per-view against Jeff Jarrett at Bash at the Beach. And we're
Hmm.
going to put a pin in that thought for just a second, Medusa, because we have our very first super chat of the evening. Thank you so much to Barry MK400. Says Medusa, there's a character in WWE 2K23 and 24 made for the game story mode named Justine, and people think she looks like you. Did you ever see her?
No. Mm-mm.
Haven't seen her. I will look
No.
that up, Barry, and I will send it to Medusa so that she can see this character. You said his name is Justine, so we will get back to you on that. Thank
So
you
her
so
name
much
is
for.
Justine, but they made her look like me so they didn't have to pay me royalties. Okay.
Oh, so now we got Medusa fired up, guys. See, this is what you can expect on Paving the Way, because
As JBL would say, don't get hot.
don't get hot, don't get bothered.
Don't
Yeah,
get hot.
exactly.
Don't get hot.
He's hanging out with Briscoe, so that's their thing.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
so June 2000, it's Bash at the Beach. Most
Mhm.
people in this room right now, everybody listening to the sound of my voice knows what I'm about to say.
Oh God.
Hulk Hogan, the immortal, who from January 23rd, 1984 until February the 5th, 1988 carried the WWF title, took on all challengers, slayed all the dragons and the monsters, came over to WCW, reset the company, made him $1 million pay-per-view, blah, 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 blah. For the 3rd time in 18 months, lays down. A lay down finish. Hogan and Nash, January the 4th, 1999. Sting and Hogan, Halloween Havoc. And now Jeff Jarrett and Hogan. Jeff Jarrett lays down. Hogan gets the pin. Medusa, 3 lay down finishes in 18 months. Why?
Why do you think? Why are you doing? Why? I mean, why do I need to answer that? That's dumb.
Well, it's
It's all
riveting
about
audio if you don't answer, ma'am.
it's a, it's all about Hogan. I don't know what.
So I agree with you. It's all about Hogan. Hogan had his creative control clause. And ladies and gentlemen, let's point this out. Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, whatever you want to call him, best self promoter the business has ever seen.
No,
Best
DDP is the best.
Hogan had far more success. Best
Okay.
best negotiator this business has ever seen. He got a cut of the pay-per-views, a cut of the merchandise, and he had
Yes.
creative control. Plus, he had his salary and his pay-per-view payments. Hulk knew what he was doing, so he exercises this creative
Somebody did.
control. Yeah, so he exercises this creative control, and he says, "I'm not laying down for Jeff." Jeff Jarrett is arguably the best wrestler in the company from a technical wrestling standpoint. He is the human fast forward button. Everybody wants to see him get his ass beat. No, we're gonna do a lay down finish here at Bash at the Beach because I'm not gonna win or lose against Jeff Jarrett. I'm not wrestling Jeff Jarrett.
These are
They
just a
do.
bunch of girls in the back, and
Yeah.
they're all not. No one's going to admit to anything. I didn't tell him. He didn't know that. Jeff didn't know that was going to happen. Oh, he said this. He said that. They're just a bunch of fucking women with their fucking balls in their wives' purse. They just, Jesus, just someone fucking tell the truth. Why don't men want to tell the truth? Why can't they just admit it? Do they know? Do men know that you're more attractive when you're truthful? Anyway.
That's another shirt. You're more attractive when you're truthful. Um, so what happens afterwards? Hulk and Eric leave the building. They leave I believe it was the Ocean Center. Somebody correct me if I have that wrong. They leave. They're gone. They're on a plane back to Wyoming or where the hell ever they were going. And Russo comes out and cuts a 7-minute scathing ass promo about how this bullshit will never happen. And he's putting Booker T in the main event against Jeff Jarrett, and they're going to have a wrestling match for the world title.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
the
I
point.
didn't do this. Blah blah blah. It's not my fault. Blah blah blah. Another one. Oh God. Too many swinging
So
dicks in one room.
we're going to get to the point of all this in a second. But so Booker T wins. Jeff Jarrett loses. Russo says he did the right thing. He did the righteous thing. He did whatever, blah, 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 blah. Um, but it leads me to wonder,
Mm.
and there we go. There's Booker.
There's
There's Booker
Booker.
T. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
sidebar real quick because we know you love Booker. You love Charmel.
Oh
Charmel
yeah. They're
on
my
this
friends.
on this episode, Medusa, Charmel says, we had no idea what the hell was going on when Vince
I
Russo
believe her.
named my husband as the guy that was going to wrestle Jeff Jarrett later in the
I
night.
believe it.
Booker T says, I found out 10 minutes before it happened that I was going to win the world title.
Well,
They
that's
a-
okay.
they ask him, and I want your perspective.
Well, okay.
1992 in Baltimore, Ron Simmons body slams Vader and becomes the
Uh-huh.
first black man to win the world title in WCW and
Yes.
JCP. Booker T here in 2000 becomes only the second black man to ever win this world title. Booker
Mm.
T on the show, when was asked, why do you think it took so long for you to win the world title, Booker? He says, because I was black. Medusa?
Hmm. Well, back then I'm gonna have to side with Booker. I really am. Because back then was a lot of racist people in situations and in wrestling. In fact, I think one dude that was very racist was Bill Watts. He
Indeed.
had a lot of choice. Huh?
Indeed. He was definitely
Oh,
racist.
indeed.
Why? It's why
I
he
thought you
got
said
fired.
Dundee.
No,
Oh,
it's why
well,
he
of
got
course.
fired.
He made comments. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't a very nice guy, and he just spoke his mind about, black people and whatnot. And it was just, he was a fucking pig, man. And I didn't like him because of his racial slurs. And I just, if I could have cold cocked him, I probably would have. I didn't, I wasn't, I heard it, but I was already walking away and I wasn't sure that I heard it. But I mean, he called Paul Heyman right to our faces as I was turning, however, because I thought, I don't know, maybe I chose not to hear it. I was so fucking pissed. But he called him a fucking piece of something you piece of shit Jew boy or something. I don't know, something bad. And then called me a bitch of a C word something something. And I mean, right to our faces. Like, I mean, I was already leaving, I guess, and Paul was hot. And so I wouldn't put it past him. And so for first Ron Simmons and then Booker, I mean, finally, you know what I mean? And again, we have more and more beautiful people in our industry that are so talented that it shouldn't matter your freaking, your race, your color, your anything, your religion, and but it still plays a part with some people, and I feel that these are the older people. They're still locked up in the old ways in the good old boys club. So fuck them and fuck them fucking train they ran in on. That's how I feel.
Yes, ma'am, and that is the only way to feel. From our chat, a few comments. Let's see. David, our buddy, back surgery. Best wishes to you, David. He said that don't work for me, brother. Is why talking about Hogan. Hogan pulled his card. Yambag Jones, our favorite shit disturber on One True Sport and one of our traveling champions, says that doesn't work for the thermos, brother. That's a joke from the 83 Weeks podcast or something,
Oh,
or Tony Schiavone's. Yambag actually asked a question. What was the famous Mike Graham quote on Jeff Jarrett? And that quote, Yambag, is he can break 10,000 guitars and never draw a dime. That was the quote on about Jeff Jarrett. Um, and he also says nobody deserved it more, talking about Booker, than just that weird situation, though.
yes, yeah,
Booker T had paid his dues. He'd been in the company since 92 or 93. I believe it was 93. Comes in as the Harlem Heat. In a
yeah.
bad Bill Watts booking, they actually make him and Stevie Ray. They introduced him in chains to the point you're talking about racism. They put
No,
him
that
with
was on purpose. I mean, I feel like that was on purpose. The gang, the chain gang, or whatever the fuck. It was like a running joke.
Yep, and I agree with you, which is why they stuck him with Colonel Parker. Ron Fuller, God
Yes,
bless him, great worker, great.
Southern. Yes,
But I mean, the whole thing was so obvious, and again, it was a shit show. But like you said, we're fair and balanced, better than Fox News on this program, and we can call Booker out for some nonsense a couple weeks ago, and at the same time congratulate him because the athleticism, the charisma, the it factor. Booker T's your world champion. He's your face of the company, and that's not a bad decision.
the great transition is when Sherry went with them. Sherry Martel, when she was
Yep.
managing the Harlem Heat. Remember that?
Oh,
You
oh,
got to
oh, yes,
remember
ma'am.
that.
I
Oh
do
my
remember
god.
because he had the damn phone and he'd come out on the ramp and he'd be talking to her on the phone. And this is right after Flair gets beat by the loser leaves town match or whatever in Halloween Havoc. He's talking to her on the phone, blah, 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 blah. And it's Sherry. Hi, guys, Sister Sherry. And it was great. You're right, Yambag. Good stuff. Um, but what
uh,
wasn't good stuff? What wasn't good stuff? Vince Russo in this whole time has made himself a character. But he
mm-hmm.
did more than that, Medusa. He did something that you never did, ma'am. And that is hold a
Mm.
WCW World Championship.
Every,
I look at that title that some people value, and the current owner of it values over six figures. Russo made himself the champ. Go ahead, ma'am.
well, again, positioning yourself. You don't know how long you're going to last there. You see the writing on the wall. You know that it's going to be etched in history with his name always there as the WCW champ. I mean, has anyone asked him why he did that? Is it, oh, that was good for business? I don't know. Was it quick? He was actually standing in quicksand and didn't know what to do. So maybe if I do this, there'll be talk and heat, and maybe it was all about heat or a situation. I don't know. I don't know what the guy was thinking back then. Um, but I do know that he cussed me out one time because I said how I felt about the whole booking situation, and he came back and apologized. And I just said I wasn't really, keen on all of that booking, and he said it was, some of the best stuff, and I said I don't agree. Women wrestling in bra and panties and ripping off our evening gowns and wrestling in barbecue sauce and mocking JR. That's when it hit rock bottom for me. And that's, I mean, I just, after that, that's basically, I had enough. Really, there was so much that was compiling in that situation. Oh. I mean, I get along with Vince today, but I'm talking about all those years back then. I couldn't stand that whole situation. It was toxic. It was a shit show, and people were going to get what they could at the time, at the moment, because that was a sinking ship quick. Some people made some good money, and I don't understand. A lot of those guys made a lot of damn money, and then here, today, a lot of them are filing bankruptcy, and I don't understand, where did all those millions go? Like, what the hell do you do with all that shit, Like, what the fuck, man? I understand people's private lives, and they have other reasons why they file bankruptcy after making gazillions of dollars, but, I'll never understand that. That's just not good financing, I guess. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
it's absolutely embarrassing, and we're going to get to, a couple of things later in the show. We're going to wrap up with Russo here. He ends up getting a concussion and actually wears a helmet on TV. At some point, he's wrestling Booker T for the world title. Goldberg comes down in an interference and spears him through the door instead of the partial side of the cage, and so he didn't land out in the aisle. He landed up against a barrier, and has said that he thinks Goldberg hurt him on purpose.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, that right there, then you shoot it to me. I mean, for him to say that he was hurt on purpose, I don't, as much as he probably wanted to, because he was just, just a guy living in his own arrogance at that time, and he couldn't stand being around him. But I think that, I don't think anybody, I hope not. I don't think it was Goldberg, right? Yeah, Goldberg. I don't think Goldberg would have hurt him on purpose. God damn. And for him to, go ahead and spear him into the, what did he spear him into the, not the cage, but what was it?
He speared him through the cage door, and he ended up hitting the barrier.
Yeah, the barrier. Okay. All right. It wasn't on purpose. Good Lord. I don't understand the way of thinking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe something didn't go right, so he felt like he needed to say that. Why would you say that? Where is his thinking to say something that about somebody? It'd be like me saying, like, they tried to kill me in the ring or something, when, you know what, you signed up for this. Accidents can happen, and if you're not there to protect yourself, I mean, what the fuck you doing in a goddamn cage anyway with a helmet and all your goddamn bullshit that don't even know how to take a decent bump, and you're in there doing that? Well, then, you know what? Shame on you. God damn it. Get me hot.
Don't be hot, because I'm about to tell you why he did this. He said, of all the people on the roster, Sting, Steiners, Booker T, Mike Awesome, yourself at some point, he was the most interesting character who could pull it off.
Russo? If they had crack, fucking crack back then, he was smoking it. What the hell? Whatever. Well, maybe he believed that. Let's don't take that away from him. If that's what he truly believed, that he was the savior, be all, end all, okay, then we know he was delusional. I don't know.
The man is absolutely delusional, but our boy Dominic D'Angelo, as we transition to our next topic, has come in clutch, Medusa, for us.
Clutch.
You ready?
What?
Bam!
Oh,
there it is.
Oh, shit, Dom.
Available now at One True Sport, guys. The Trailblazer Medusa, established 1984. I am wearing a One True Sport shirt. This is not a plug, because all my boys can tell you that I am a level 5
Well, let me
bitch.
see the back of it.
Oh, well, he didn't put the back of it on, honey. We just have this one.
You can't put the t-shirt up without the back. Take that shirt down. It's not available. That shirt's not available.
Let me text him, ma'am. God, you're a handful. See, this is why they know that we just will tell them. But this is the deal on the merchandise, guys. Extra soft.
No, we're not talking
fits
about
right.
no,
Right.
not until they can get their merch shit straight. No, sorry, Dom, bullshit. The back is up. Okay. No, brother
Oh.
Dom. Listen, Dom. Hey, I know a guy named Dominic. Dominic, his nickname's called Sloppy Seconds.
Oh my God. Haha, the back is up. It's on there. I just didn't screenshot it. Okay, Dom. I love you.
Don't make me call you Sloppy Seconds the third.
Uh-oh. He is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Dominic is going to get this figured out because Medusa called his ass out in front of 341 people watching this. And while Dom figures that out, and we'll use that as our plug for the next thing, let's talk about the Wyatt.
It's on the back. It's on the back.
Oh, Dom.
Okay. Dom is here, everybody.
I just didn't screenshot it.
Sloppy Seconds.
I just didn't screenshot it. It's on the back. It's there. The back. It's don't F with me on the back.
Right.
I just screenshot the front of the t-shirt.
Okay, well you better screenshot the back. Because there is no t-shirt. Take that down.
Here, I'll upload it. It's there. It's available.
Okay. Until he uploads it, then we'll talk about his t-shirt in one sport.
Right now.
You know how long we've been on Dom's ass about this t-shirt?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You know what? Your brother Marcus is taller than you. Just saying.
He can't beat me up though. He can't beat me up.
Oh shit. Whatever.
Dom embraces being short. He uses it to his advantage, and he uses it as a talking point. So you're not really insulting him.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
They're both unique characters.
But one thing I know about Mr. D'Angelo, that one, is he very much loves the Wyatt Six. We have different thoughts on it. Yes, he and I have very different opinions on this, and here's why. We're going to talk about the Wyatt Six, guys. Obviously, Medusa loves horror movies. She loves professional wrestling when it's good.
Yeah. I hate wrestling, but yeah.
When it's good, you love it. Hush, you love it. Because you know when it's good, and that's the thing. You know when it's good.
When it's good, especially that one girl I told you about. We need to talk to her about her sometime.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. God, she's getting me sidetracked here, guys. No, the Wyatt Six and all.
It's all one color. What are you doing?
The Wyatt Six is taking over our show. So there you go. Don't F with me.
The F star was supposed to be a different color, like red or something, or fucking white. Anyway, work on it. That looks good. It's all right.
I'm calling timeout. To the group chat, do any of you on any of the podcasts that you watch live get this sort of shit? Because there's a reason it happens here and not anywhere else. Medusa, let's talk about the Wyatt Six.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, before I start with the Wyatt Six, Dom, good work on the front. And the FUCK with the star gimmick, that word was supposed to be a different color. Okay, so when you fix it, we'll put it up and we'll talk about it. All right, so we'll probably get it in another 6 months. Anyway, so Marcus loves me right now because he knows what it's like trying to get a fucking blood out of a turnip with that brother. Anyway.
The Roastmaster General Medusa, ladies and gentlemen. Wyatt Six debuted last week. We'd been seeing it teased. This is the continuation, of course, of Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family, the Eater of Worlds, the vision of Wyndham Rotunda, the creative that came out of his beautiful mind. The man pulled everything off perfectly. The accents, the
You're
things,
talking about
the
Wyndham.
details. I'm talking about Wyndham.
I'm talking
about Bray, the late Wyndham Rotunda. This man, from the rocking chair to the Hawaiian shirt to the hat to the beard to the way he would lower his voice when he talked, and then he would bring it back up to the way he got little kids to sing "He Has the Whole World in His Hands" wearing sheep masks. Everything about the Wyatt family in that presentation ran through Wyndham Rotunda until last week when we were introduced to Uncle Howdy being portrayed by Bo Dallas, Taylor Rotunda, Bray Wyatt's brother. I've said several times to people already that I was very apprehensive about this for one reason and one reason only. And that is that Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, was a giant in this business creatively. That he embraced that character in a way that I don't know that anybody else could pull it off. Similarly to when were working in WWF and Dustin Reynolds became Goldust. And at the time, was there anybody that could be Goldust? Was there anybody that could be Bray Wyatt? Do we leave well enough alone, Medusa, or is this a good play by WWE?
Well, it's very touchy and deep because it's freshly still it's still emotional, right? And for he was very creative, and Bray was good at what he did. And can I say that Bray reminds me of Mick Foley? And when I say that, I'm talking about the character wise and how they could pull off so many. And that creativeness in your mind, and to be able to do that, that's how good Mick was too. People seem to forget. And it takes a certain person to be able to have that dimensional character thing going on. Makes you wonder what was going on up there, right? And I mean that like in a good way, like, wow, that brain didn't shut off, right? So I feel that it was so full with him, and that he was just getting ready to do his next big thing. And, some people knew about it close to him. And I feel that he fulfilled his dream. And then to me, it's kind of like a famous quarterback having the number 9 and it retires and then someone brings it back. It's just not the same, right? So I'm trying to just give you the film, the feeling here that I feel that I was so spoiled with what I had with Bray, that seeing it carry on in different ways, I feel like it's forced almost. And I mean that respectfully. And I know it's good, and thousands of people love it. This is just me, because I want to nurture what was and remember that and move on. I'd want to move on with something else that I'm creating. I don't know. I feel like it's so close to home that it hasn't had time to filter through or breathe, really. And I think that maybe that it's so close that they're still living off the curtails of Bray in this, perhaps wanting maybe that it could help the character because it is a connection. But kudos to everyone that's, doing it, making it work and working hard, and to the people that enjoy it and love it. Personally, that's how I feel. I'm fulfilled with Bray's artwork. And that's how I want to remember it.
Yeah, like I said, I believe he had a beautiful mind and such a creative vision. And let's face it, guys, I'm about to put an image on the screen that came from the mind of Bray Wyatt. And that's his brother on the left. That's Uncle Howdy on the right, who is portrayed by his brother, Taylor Rotunda, Bo Dallas. This all comes from the mind of Bray Wyatt. And that is where my initial apprehension was, wait a minute. How are they going to do this without him? He's deceased. Unfortunately, his life was cut short, and that brilliance you can never get again because he's not here.
Right.
Taylor Rotunda pulled off Uncle Howdy last night. He interviewed himself as Uncle Howdy. Great production by WWE. And then instead of talking about destroying the world, lighting it on fire, he's got the whole world in his hands, get whatever he would do as a cult leader.
Mm.
They talked about mourning the death of his brother. His character, Uncle Howdy, talking to him, the real person, about the death of Wyndham Rotunda, who was Bray Wyatt.
Maybe that's a closure then. Maybe that's what they're doing, and they're finally making that a closure so they can move on with their own character. Maybe there's a little bit more to it than, I've seen. And maybe that was it. Maybe it's a good send off. You know what I mean? So they can go on and do what they want to do with what they want to do. I don't know.
Yeah, and I just think that, like I said, Bray Wyatt was so genius because, again, guys, one more image. That's him. That is Bray Wyatt's vision, his creative, his mind, looking at all of these characters that came to us from the Firefly Funhouse. They came to us from his mind. And wrestling minds, Medusa, come along once in a generation. You talk
Mm.
about booking minds, people that talk about Eddie Graham, who drank himself to the decision of suicide, but taught the great bookers of this business like a Dusty Rhodes, like a Kevin Sullivan. That mind can't be replaced, but like you said,
It can't
look at
be
what
mimicked. Mm-mm.
look what's come
That's how
out
I'm
of it.
feeling. I know. And I understand that. And because it's still new and hot and people are still mourning. And I just, God bless them if they can carry on and do what they're doing. If that's what people want. Again, remember this is acting, it is creating acting. So I don't know. It's whew, kudos to them.
Yeah, it's definitely a heavy thing, and you had said something about, of course he's passed on. Unfortunately, today wrestling lost another legendary star here in Sika Inoue. Obviously, one half of the Wild Samoans with brother Afa. This is, for anybody who doesn't know, Roman Reigns' father. So this is the man who brought the legendary tribal chief to this world, or helped anyway. And
Mhm.
he has passed away. He was 79 years old.
He was
Three-time.
born in 45. So he was
Yeah.
80 some.
Yeah. So lived a long life. I know he had some illnesses. He was a trainer, three-time WWE tag or WWF tag team champion with his brother, managed by
Mhm.
Captain Lou Albano. Feared, genuinely feared, because we're going to talk about some fear here in the Samoans, but wanted to mention and send out our condolences because the Inoue family is probably the most significant wrestling family in um, wrestling right now. I mean, WWE, MLW, New Japan, whatever.
There's some
This
strong
fam,
family, though. There's some strong family names in wrestling. However, I believe the bloodline is hot right now. Yes, and absolutely. But there are strong names in this wrestling.
well, and one
Um,
of those strong names you're familiar with, ma'am, and there he is.
oh, there's my boy. I've loved this kid from the beginning and been watching him, and he's insanely untouchable, almost scary. So I have never seen the last person I seen big like this would be Bam Bam Bigelow, that was so agile. That could do the flips and the moonsaults and the crazy shit for the guy his size. And good and real good. And this kid here and his knowledge and the psychology is impeccable. So he stands out from a few of the others, even right now. So I just think that he's going to fast track faster than fast track. And you've got to be careful when you do that to talent. Even though it's already in his blood and it's already in his bloodline, no pun intended, but it could be fast track to the point of huge success fast and die down quickly. But if they have any control like they do of the bloodline now, they would definitely put him on pause as soon as they get him in there, figure it all out, and milk him like a mofo. I hope so. I really do. I hope they just don't abuse his ring ability to the point where he's worked so hard with all his fancy stuff that he gets injured or something. That's what I get scared about. It's kind of like what they did with Ricochet there for a while. Ricochet was fucking phenomenal. He's just Jesus. There's another one that I don't know. You could have done so much with Ricochet. I don't understand. Yeah, that whole thing either. But I just, Ricochet's talented. I'd like to see Ricochet and him, go hand in hand. Him and Jacob. That'd be good. But yeah, I don't know. And I have a big soft spot for the Samoan family, and we go way, way back. They'll always be a part of my family, even though I'm not Hawaiian or Samoan and or Tonga, Amnesia, whatever. But we've really hit it off and became it's almost like the Japanese culture situation. Once you are accepted in the family, your family for life, basically. And so it started with Yokozuna, you know what I mean? And because Yoka and I were on the road a lot together, and he'd always make me do his hair. Me and Luna would have to do his hair, and oh my God, his hair just stunk because he never washed it. And he'd make Luna and I just put all the grease and shit in it, put it up in the sumo shit. Oh my God, it was crazy. And then, years went on, and I've always been, close to the Samoans. And then I dated a Samoan for a while. And yeah. And so once you're in, you're in. And and I don't mean it like that. They're good people, very loving. They love their family. Family comes first, definitely. The way it should be, really. And family, God, and love. It's a great path to follow.
Yeah, they're amazing. Jacob Fatu comes in to join the bloodline. He's been signed to WWE for a couple months. No NXT Medusa. They believe
just skipped right
in
to
this
the.
man
I told
enough.
you.
No,
I told you.
Mhm.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. He's not even going to NXT. Shit.
no, ma'am.
Did I just fucking call that? Yeah, fucking. He skipped NXT and went straight to the main. Jesus. Yep. He's that damn good.
And his dance partners were Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes, who from the top rope to the outside of the ring, he put through a table Friday night on SmackDown.
Lovely. Wow.
And then you get this. Look at that.
Yep.
Solo Rikishi's son, and Jacob, of course, is the son of the Tonga Kid.
Yep.
And then your boy, Paul Heyman, not in the ring because he's afraid, Uncle Paul there. But look at that image. That's how SmackDown closed. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu. And would you notice, ma'am, there's a spot where you're 2-2 and you've got 1 for the front. And I believe that will be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at some point.
You do?
I do. I believe he's the new leader of this killer bloodline, and he's been playing Roman the whole time. But that's me.
Possibly. I don't know.
I also believe
I don't know.
I also believe that conniving man we're about to talk about is behind it all in one Paul Heyman.
Paul would never have anything to do with nothing. Are you kidding me? Shit.
No. So before we move on to the main event, because we are here to talk about the man called Sting, and we will explain why we're going to talk about the man called Sting once we finish talking about him. Fatu skips NXT, inserted in Top Line Creative. They do not change his name, and they even refer to him as the Samoan Werewolf. So, and they debuted him in Chicago, Medusa. Final
Mhm.
thoughts on Mr. Fatu and the way this has all come together.
Well, I think that that was a sweet deal. They offered him something and let's negotiate. This isn't his first rodeo, and he's got family and bloodline behind him, probably good lawyers. He's got Paul Heyman as a negotiator, as a solicitor, as we call lawyers as well. And so, mouth of the mouth. So I'm sure he had a sweet deal, but WWE trademarked that name. And that was probably one of the deals that he had to sign the name over for him to use it. Absolutely. That's
Yep.
it. It's done
And
and
that's why
over. WWE
that's why I
owns it.
wondered. Yeah, I wondered because they bring him in, they call him by his name. Now they did the same thing with Tama and Tongaloa. They brought him in
Mhm.
using their ring names, the 7-time New Japan Pro Wrestling World Champions. Bad asses. And Solo's the weakest link in this whole group, and he's the one that they're putting as the presumptive leader. So I'm very excited for the bloodline. I know you go back with the King Haku, who is the father to Tama and Tongaloa. Obviously go back with Yoko. I mean the bloodline is strong, very
It is.
strong,
It's
and
great
we're
to see
working
all
on.
these boys flourish and finally have such a great connection and actually see people giving them some dues that are owed. They're workaholics, their work ethics are almost untouchable, and they're good people. They're faithful. For the most part. When it comes to business, absolutely. Um, and I just think that this is going to be a great God-given creation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's fantastic. And like I said, I've helped write the Orange Show for a long time, and anytime we get the chance to talk about the Samoans, the Island Boys as he calls them, his favorite is Haku. So,
Oh,
and he calls him the uncrowned world champion, and reminds everybody that if Haku had ever won the title, he would have held it for as long as he wanted to hold it, and there won't a
oh
damn thing
yes.
anybody was going to ever do about it.
Oh no, you're right. He's a gentle giant. Let me tell you though, soft spoken, so nice, just a real gentleman. Well, he was to me. I love that guy. He was a great guy.
I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2019 at a convention, a StarCast event in Las Vegas. He gave me 10 minutes of his time just talking to him,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
I mean, what a badass! And this is right after they did the Gorilla of Destiny Bullet Club thing, where he comes out
Mm.
and Spike Pile drives Kenny Omega, beats the hell out of the Young Bucks, beats up Cody Rhodes, and this is 60 or 50 whatever year old Haku along with the kids just beating everybody's ass over there in Japan. So
Oh.
really, really, really fun, really good. Did you see something, ma'am?
Who, me?
Yeah, you just looked
I'm
excited for a
sending I'm
second.
sending I'm sending Dominic a private chat telling him to get his shit together. Okay.
Oh, that's my bad. That's my bad, folks. This is the stuff you don't get on other podcasts. Yambag Jones. So while we talked about Haku, he wants to know: do you know the story of Haku eating someone's nose? Have you heard this story, Deuce?
No, but if he did, I mean, was it salty? Was it peppery? Was it anyway, I don't want to know. We can move on. Let's talk about the next thing. I want to talk about no
I'd say
fucking nose.
that went a completely different way. But anyway,
There you
oh,
go. Much better. Can we
all right.
just hear it?
Yeah, absolutely. Here
It's
he
up
is.
on the site too. It's live.
It's live,
What's live?
Deuce. The shirt
Yeah,
is
it's
live. OneTrueSport.com, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at
Medusa,
this.
the
Woo!
trailblazer.
This.
And when you flip that shirt over, nice to meet you. Don't F with me. Thank you, Paul Heyman.
That's right. That's right.
And thank you, Mr. D'Angelo. We appreciate you, buddy. One
Yes,
of the
thank you,
founders
Sloppy
of One True
Seconds.
Sport. Yeah.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God. I have to
Thank
talk
you,
to these
Sloppy.
people later, lady. What are you
Thank
doing?
you, Sloppy Seconds the second.
Dom, I apologize.
No,
He didn't take
don't.
her
He does
medicine
not
today.
apologize. He don't. He don't apologize. Dirty Dom putting in our
In the OT today. Yeah. Go ahead, rock Medusa's shirt, guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
OneTrueSport.com.
That'll be the next one.
It's the next one. And Level 5 Bitch is coming soon.
Yes, it is. Oh, by the way, so the next Medusa t-shirt will be Medusa, whatever. And then on the back, who's your Sloppy Seconds?
There it is. On the fly. We're printing money, ladies and gentlemen, on the fly. But the reason that we're really here isn't to print money. It's to talk about Steve Borden, the man called Sting.
Go, Steven.
You worked with him in 2000 or 1991. Excuse me, I about said 2001. 1991. You worked with Sting, and it's interesting how you get there. And it's in Medusa's book, "The Woman Who Would Be King."
Right here, available on
Amazon.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Available on Amazon. See, she's teaching me, guys. Available on Amazon. And you should pick it up because it's an excellent read. The chapters are short enough that you can read a few minutes and then put the book down and keep reading and keep reading.
Listen, 0 to 5 in a bitch or whatever it is. Listen. Linda, listen.
Listen, Linda. I love that little baby. Listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda. Now you fucked me up from what I was going to say. Fucking fuck. Oh,
I said the chapters were short enough that you can enjoy them.
No, listen, Linda. Listen. You did not read the book from the beginning to the end. I go, did you read the book? No, I haven't read it yet. I haven't read it all yet. Oh, okay. And then you say, and then you told him yourself, and you said, I just read some of the different chapters. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, I just picked my chapters. How in the fuck do you read a book? Listen, Linda. Bullshit.
That's what I do. But I will read the whole book. I read on the Dangerous Alliance. I read on Bull Nakano. I read on Your Time in Japan. Ma'am, I've been reading your book, and it's a very easy read. It's very digestible. It's very insightful. And I don't say that because she's sitting right there, and everybody that knows me knows I don't say stuff just because she's sitting right there. But
Sting, like you have anything to fear but fear itself. Okay.
Thank you, FDR. We're off the fucking rails, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you are. We're getting to fucking Stinger. Yeah.
We're getting to the Stinger. My favorite Sting is Surfer Sting. This Sting, 1991 Sting. He was such a badass working with the likes of Vader, Rick Rude, Cactus Jack, Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts. He was great. But anyway, you're brought into WCW to help cultivate a women's division. And inside of 30 days, all of the sudden, you are the director of covert operations for this group called the Dangerous Alliance. You are first seen in this role with Paul E. Dangerously on the Halloween Havoc 1991 when 007 when Rick Rude unmasks as the Halloween Phantom.
Sloppy Seconds.
007. That's 007. You're supposed to. Yeah, we've got a silhouette and everything. I had an idea. I had a vision. Anyway.
Yes.
So 007 herself loves Surfer Sting, but the Dangerous Alliance comes out, Halloween Havoc, Paulie Dangerously, Medusa, and the Phantom, who everybody knew was Rick Rude, thanks to the body movements and the Clash of Champions. You are on seducing Mr. Sting here. And we have a picture of Medusa and the Stinger and whatever was in the box. So this is Clash of Champions, November 1991. It's all part of the conspiracy. This opened the show, and Medusa is going to distract Sting. World champion Lex Luger is going to clip Sting. And then there's this whole deal where Sting has to get back from the hospital to the match, and it's a conspiracy, and Rick Rude wins the United States title. Some people say boo hiss to that, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, that put Sting in position to win his second world title as Lex Luger would be leaving the company in February of the following year. Medusa,
Oh,
when did you first meet Sting? Was this the time when you first came to WCW, or had you met him in a past life somewhere else?
past life. I don't know. I don't remember. Like maybe it was the first time. Maybe it had to be. It had to be the WCW. It
Okay.
had to, unless I
Well, I
saw
didn't.
him in Texas or something. But I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it
you've been to
was.
Japan, and I didn't know if you guys had just crossed paths, if you knew each other, if however you met. Now, did you
But
meet him?
I wish I would have met JBL out in Japan. I would have kicked that guy's ass. Anyway, yeah. I love JBL, but
JBL's. I was gonna say he's one of your better friends. We know. He's.
okay, whatever. Yeah, but okay.
Does he listen to our show?
I don't know. He's
We
going
should
to
get him.
now. He's got
We
such a
should get him to
crush on
listen.
me. He's got such a
Oh,
crush on
good.
me. It's ridiculous.
Excellent. So let's get some viewers from that. But I ask about this whether you met when you met Sting. Did you meet him prior to the angle, or was it when you knew you were going to work together that you actually got a formal introduction to him?
It was just a hello thing backstage, and you're working with Sting, and I was never awestruck or anything. I was just excited to be working, really. And then when the whole thing was going down, it was a good time to be Medusa because they were actually using me in things, I guess.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was just really excited. There wasn't much wrestling, was there? No. And so for me to be in this position, I was being utilized, and I felt comfortable, okay, doing this because it was fun. But yeah, that was really cool. And Sting was really easy to work with. And so it was all ad lib. Now he didn't know that I was going to do. He knew I was supposed to come out of the box. And then I think we went over at one time because I vaguely remember. And he's like, okay, so all right, Medusa, you're just going to come out of the box. Let's do it one time. You walk out, you walk up to Sting, you just kind of like, hey, you get his attention and kind of move him, turn him around so they can't see. I think it was Rick Rude to come out or no, Lex or something. And that, and then that's it. And then you jump down and you get out, right? Or however it went. So my whole thing, and this is the first time I'm actually telling this story because it's not even really in my book, is that I'll emphasize on it on the second book though. And so I remember them saying, Medusa. So I wanted to play up the whole, Medusa thing, and I had the gold snakes and all of the like a little harem girl or something way back in the day. And I remember telling myself I am going to go very methodically. And I remember they didn't tell me how to do it. They just said, okay, just come on out. They didn't tell me a time or, nothing because probably they didn't think I was going to do what I did. And since was it a pay-per-view? Was it live? It was live, I think. So they had to go roll with it. And so I remember I just said, fuck it. And I remember I just stuck my toe out slowly, and just so they could watch the foot and the leg. And then I came out and just kind of looked around. And then when I went over there, I was like, I didn't really kind of know what I was going to do. And I remember I just kind of slithered and I just dropped down or was on my knees crawling. I'll never forget Steve. And I, kind of like, it's like when you're wrestling and the other guy isn't getting it. You basically just yell to him like what you need them to do. Move your friend, I'm going to kick you in the head, just warning them or something so they clue up. And so as I'm crawling up there, and I remember I started walking up and I'm like, whoa, I gotta miss that middle section there. Come up over here. And all of a sudden Steve goes, whoa, whoa, Juicy, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was a legit, like, what the fuck are you doing? It was so good. And then I just kind of didn't say anything and just walked right up and round. He's like, whoa. And if you listen and watch that, you can see and hear his nervous because that was not planned at all. It was cute as hell.
Yeah, he did not look comfortable when you watch it.
No.
And I have never heard that story, obviously, so that was fantastic.
No, that's the first time I ever told that story. First time. Yeah. I was going to keep it for the book, but there's more to that too.
Oh, good. So we're going to get even more details about how this seductress over here seduced Sting. But the whole point of you and the conspiracy is to get Rude the United States title.
That's how I got the nickname then. That's how I got the nickname then. Seduce and Medusa. Yep.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the director of covert operations, but...
Well, that too. Okay.
this little interaction, this little interlude, if you will, on Clash of Champions, it was live TV, ma'am. To answer that question.
I thought
but that leads to this. And don't kick me in the head because this is the picture that I found from the Saturday night, the following event.
Hey, kick you in the balls.
If it'll pop up. Come on, thing. There it is.
I see it. Yeah.
Look at this group.
Whoa,
Dangerously, Anderson, Rude, Austin, Zabisco, and Eaton. With Medusa in the back, all dressed in tuxedos with Rude, of course, in his robe. This is the picture when the Dangerous Alliance was formed 4 days later. You talk about a faction, Medusa, and the intention, the goal of the faction.
Yes.
Stated goal was to eliminate Sting. And then, of course, when he wins the world title, it gives him and Rude something else to fight over.
Yes.
But that was the stated faction. How in the world against the franchise of the company did WCW drop the fucking ball with this group?
I don't know. Now, as far as being formed, I know Paul had the idea of how he wanted to make me a managerial, director of covert operations. He ran it by Dusty. Dusty said, oh my God. And then he had his 2 cents. And then he told Paul, oh my God, this girl's life is going to change overnight. And she's going to be a big superstar. She's going to be a superstar, Paulie. She's going to be a superstar. That's exactly what he said. And then Star was born, basically. And thank God from that day forward, really. It really helped me hone my craft as that managerial position and be taken serious as a tough ass 007 director of covert operations. I was the James Bond girl, but I was the James Bond girl type of wrestling. So it was so cool. So fucking cool. And then as far as how they dropped the bomb, I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know what the hell. It just, all of a sudden it was, I don't know. Just shit started happening, and just people going their own ways. And Bill Watts. I'm telling you, it wasn't a pretty picture. I don't know, but I think that we're under.
Go ahead. You think that what?
I think that it was a very underrated faction, even in the short of time. I think that we could have been more powerful and equal. I mean, to a 4 horsemen type of stable. You know what I mean? If we would have kept going.
Oh, I will send your hate tweets to @30yearfan. If the Dangerous Alliance had been given the opportunity with Paulie on the mic, you as part of the presentation as the covert operations director, and the professional wrestlers, not sports entertainers, wrestlers, Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko would have surpassed the Four Horsemen, because the Horsemen's best run was from April of 1988 until September of 1988, when they added Barry Windham to the group. When
So
it
they
was
had
Windham,
almost as long as a
Tully,
run as we did.
Anderson, and Flair. That was their best run. Now, the original had Ole, but the best version of the Four Horsemen was Anderson, Windham, Blanchard, Flair, and JJ. This would have surpassed that given the time to breathe. Because
I think so.
I
think so, yeah.
You were the United States Championship valet, the Champions valet, Rick Rude's valet, if you want to call it that, but you were so much more than that. The distractions, the in-ring work. Did you ever have any trouble working with men?
Not those men. None of them. Absolutely zero. That whole faction there, those men, every single one of them was ethical. Like they were so kind and helpful. And the psychology on Bobby Eaton, Jesus, Jenny, just watching him. And just, oh my God, and Rick Rude, just being his manager, just being able to be at ringside and watching, and then, and Steve was just getting his legs, you know what I mean? And then you had, then of course, you have Larry Zbyszko, Lord have mercy. And then Arn Anderson, you can't get any better. Just that whole faction of just, the talent was so much that you couldn't even put it all in the ring, I've never worked with a better group of guys than those guys. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to ask you about something controversial. Arguably, Arn calls him anyway, the greatest babyface the game's ever seen in Ricky Steamboat. You work an angle with Steamboat where Steamboat punches you. And
that was shocker the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 91, 92. Nobody laid hands on a woman, even when you had like Nicola working with Tully, and she got slapped. But you weren't talking about on Turner television on the Superstation. Walk us through how that all came together, where Steamboat, the beloved, revered babyface chasing Rude, is going to be the one to put his hands on you.
I don't know if it was, I don't think it was Ricky's idea, but I think he was hesitant, but done correctly and making sure I was okay with it was his main priority. Definitely. And it was executed so beautifully. And there's another guy that worked very well and treated me equal, that whole group of the Dangerous Alliance and Steamboat. There wasn't any lascivious gestures. There wasn't any, no bullshit from these men at all. And that's what made working with these guys so spectacular and just helped me hone my craft and become who I was and gave me the confidence to grow. Working with Steamboat was like putting whipped cream on a, on top of the whole sundae. And it was just so much fun. I was excited to work. I was excited to go to work at that time. Compared to the other bullshit that I was dealing with, but that's what made going to work fun. Absolutely. And wrestling was supposed to be fun, damn it. It was supposed to be fun. The guys were having fun. Why couldn't I have fun? And really fun skits and utilize me well and tell a story. And, it just, it was so good. That was a good time. And Steve Austin too, I remember when I think it was Bischoff fired his ass and he didn't have the fucking kahunas, the balls to do it. He had Janie Engel call him to fire him. Fucking pussy.
Biggest star in the world and you fire him.
Well, he wasn't then. He wasn't then. And I always told Steve, I said, God, Steve, you're so good. You're gonna be huge. You're gonna be big one day. And, he was so quiet, but he was always married to a beautiful blonde with big tits, so I never got my chance with him, even though I was blonde and had big tits, but he was always married to one.
Oh, here we go again. We're gonna get censored. What happens in this whole thing, because we're talking about Sting, is he's the franchise, he's the leader. He's allied with people like Ricky Steamboat, like Dustin Rhodes, like Barry Windham. Um, and these are the guys that you're gonna end up, regularly managing against. You helped Bobby and Arn win the tag team titles. So, working with Bobby and Arn, you told a really fun story on Arn's show about interviews.
Oh, yeah.
What else can you tell us about working with Bobby and Arn
Well,
during your
Bobby and
time here?
Arn Bobby and Arn were, they're quiet guys anyway, kind of soft spoken. You couldn't get two shits out of Bobby except a little giggle, huh? He'd walk up to you and act like he's going to put you in a little arm bar, and he just barely even touches you. And he'd be chewing gum at the same time, and all he would do is smile. I love Bobby. Bobby, man, he's missed. He was just so good for the business. It's exactly what he was supposed to do, you know? And Arn, he's got a great mind for the business. His psychology is untouched. Like I would love to dig into that brain of his half the time. But let me tell you, if it didn't go Arn's way, it didn't go anybody's way. And he'd let you know, including that story I told about me trying to do a promo, and it took me 10 times, and he was so in a hurry to go to the fucking gym, take a tan, and eat his Metarex shake so he could stink up and shit in the room or whatever he was going to do. And then he just told me to hurry up. He started yelling at me, and I couldn't do my promo, and he made me so nervous. So I kicked off my high heel and threw it at him across the room. Told him to shut up. And then I did a really good promo. Then I was done. Yeah, those guys, I mean, oh man, just to see something like that. I would love to see something serious like that. Like, is it even out there? Or is it all just unicorns and rainbows and gymnastics and I don't know. When I say rainbows, I don't mean anything dissing anybody. I'm talking about it being so La La Land, and just where's the factions like the fucking bloodline and stuff, but that are storytelling and can just different things like the Wyatts have going or something, and then you have the bloodline, and then where's all the intimate stories? That's the stuff that make me come back as a wrestling fan. That would, make me want to go back and watch. I don't know. When you got people looking the same, like 20 girls all looking the same, it all bleeds together,
Mhm. It does. There's no uniqueness there. And that's one thing that you offered the Dangerous Alliance, was something unique in that you were 007. You are the killer. You are the person that's not afraid to get their hands dirty, and Steamboat's going to punch you. And Ricky Steamboat had never done anything like that in his career. So it was really,
he was
really
nervous. He was
groundbreaking.
nervous. Yeah. Yeah. It was groundbreaking.
Very
I think it
groundbreaking.
changed the trajectory. It changed the whole trajectory of it. And so it was like, oh, here we are. We just opened up the Pandora box. Let's go.
Well, and let's face it, you're a badass. And they know it now that you're a legit player. And by having that interaction with Steamboat and you being involved with the members of the Dangerous Alliance, you were legitimized immediately.
Was not circumcised. What did you say?
Legitimized. You were legitimized immediately as 007. Fuck this internet. I got that out of the way. Last one.
Your internet
because
sucks. This is so hard to keep up with you.
It's terrible right now. I apologize, ma'am. But our audio is fantastic, and our audience has been great. So we got audio and audience. They've both been good. Rick Rude and you were so much a part of this presentation in 91, 92 in WCW, but you're married to Sting. Rick Rude, as a performer, will challenged Sting for the U.S. title, beat Sting for the U.S. title, but really, Rude is one of the franchise's greatest rivals. What
Mm.
was it? Because you had a front row seat to all of this for the United States title, up to the War Games, etc. What was it about the two of them that made them such good dance partners?
What do you mean? Wait a minute. You mean Sting
Rude
and
and
Rick?
Sting and
Yeah.
Rude. Why
Okay.
were they so good together? Why were they so good together?
Well, I think it was Rick with the hassle-free type of match. Rick, he was more of a showman, you know, narcissist, you know, and he could tell a story, and he was a good heel, very good heel. He didn't have to do much. He just said it on the mic and got heat. That was true heat back in the day. You just cut your promo beforehand and you just got heat all the way through that fucking match. And it could be just like little hiccups throughout the match of just screwing with somebody, right? Where Sting could have had him 1, 2, 3, but Rick screwed him out of that and just kept pissing people off. Sting was such a fan favorite and a baby face and he was such a perfect heel. It was just It was a great recipe for great matches, and I'm not comparing us, but I am to the level of describing on how two people danced well together, and that was Bull Nakano and me, and that's how I saw Rick Rude and Sting. Can people relate if they know all four? You know what I mean? Very much so.
Absolutely. I think one of the things about Rude is he is certainly one of Sting's greatest adversaries. Got a lot out of Sting, got a different match out of
Mhm.
Sting than Flair got out of Sting, got a
He
different
pushed
match out of
them to
Sting
the
than
limit.
Vader.
Yeah, yeah,
And like
yeah.
you got psychology out of it. Psychology out of this. Because Vader's just a big old bastard to go beat the shit out of you. Flair
Yeah.
is Nate. She's going to do his thing, and they're going to go 45. But Rick Rude, what I'd like to have now is all you Atlantic City sweat hogs keep the noise down while I take my robe off. I mean,
That's so good.
that was his shtick, That was what he did. Um,
And then
I
he'd
just
say, "I'd
I
like
think
to have my doocy, doocy." He'd say doocy. I said, "Come here, doocy." Oh my god.
oh, I love it. But that's who you were featured so much with. So I knew you had a front row seat to watching these guys work together. And I really
Mhm.
thought we should ask the question because you saw it. You saw, and when I call Sting the franchise, and even the title of this episode, "The Man Called Sting," that was his song. And he and Rude, when they did the little battle for the song, who has the best interest music, the finalists were Simply Ravishing and The Man Called Sting. And of course, The Man Called Sting wins. But 1992, that was the sort of stuff they were doing, and everything ran through Rude and Sting because there's no Ric Flair. Flair's in
Yeah,
WWF. No
yeah,
Ric Flair.
yeah. Oh, it was perfect though. It was good. It was getting eyes. You know what I mean? And it drew. They drew very well. And then you had this woman by his side that was very big in character by not saying much. It was the presence of her, Medusa, was like if when she walked into a room, you knew it by feeling her aura. Like, oh my God. Right. And it was just, I loved how he helped dish that character because he really helped me because I would never really well, I can't say I never really was a manager because I was a lot in AWA, I guess, just a little bit, but no one really sat down and said, okay, here are things to look for. This is what you do. There wasn't really any manager schools or classes. And my school and class was just go out to the ring and learn. This is what you are. This is what you're going to be and do. And this is how you do it. So I had to learn the whole match that they were doing because I needed to know each spot. I had to position myself just right for a spot for a certain time. And if I fucked up their match. And if I did, I wouldn't have been with Rick as long as I was if I fucked up matches. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that was an important role. People don't even think about that. Like, what did she do out there? She just do. I mean, ask a baby doll. Ask, being on time and that timing and making sure you had your shit, or if you had to jump up on the apron. I remember one time I was scared shitless. I was just starting with Rick, and I had to go up on the apron. And I was like, okay, I know this is the spot. Oh my God, something happened. Okay, was that it? Did they fuck up? And I remember Rick spinning his head around like the Exorcist saying, Deucey up on the ring! Just yelling it. I'm like, okay. And basically something happened, and and I'm like, I know, I thought this was it. Yeah, it was just, fuck up, he'll tell you.
I love it. And the one other thing I love, because I am a, wrestling traditionalist that yells at clouds, is this right here. And
Oh,
you know
boy.
what this is from. Wrestle War, 1992. Medusa in the blue gown. Look at how tan you were, ma'am. But speaking of tan, look at Rick Rude right behind you.
Yes. Yeah,
This was
his
back
paint on tan rubbed off on me.
You know where I'm going with this, because this is the probably most iconic image other than the box that we have
my
of you and
God.
Sting. There you are,
Oh.
in the dress, on the War Games cage, arguably top 2 or 3 tier War Games ever, because the first one is always novel. But look at this,
Yeah.
Medusa. You got caught. You dropped the phone down to Arn, who's raising hell. Sting has chased you up, and you're about to go down. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen this, Medusa climbed that cage in high heels and that dress to give Arn Anderson the phone through the top of the... Well, you kicked the shoes off, I think. Yeah, but regardless, you climbed the fence to do the phone gimmick, the huge ass phone Paul Lee carried around, to drop it to Arn in the middle of the cage. And Sting,
That's
of course,
right.
comes up. People will never forget that. They may forget that it was Larry that took the shot to the shoulder with the turnbuckle and then submitted to a basic armbar. They will never forget you dropped the phone to Arn with Sting chasing you up the cage. So the question again becomes, knowing how hot this is your big match, the blow off, and they break up the Dangerous Alliance due to this finish. That's how they get to the breakup. There was clearly plenty of traction left for you guys and Sting. The world champion.
God. Yeah. Yeah. Someone didn't like us. We were on fire. Something was happening. You tell me. You tell me what happened after that. All of a sudden did I start wrestling Paul Heyman? Did we start having bouts or something? I don't know. But I mean, yeah, what the hell happened there? I mean, it was an iconic moment. Probably one of the best ones, I thought. And the whole thing of me climbing up the cage was not planned. I just did it. I said, Paul, give me your phone. What? What are you doing? Get up there then. Where are you going to go? Go up there. I'm like, yeah. He goes, what the hell are you going to do? I said, just give me your phone. I'm going to pass it to Arn. Yeah. Then that's how that was happened. That's just the seat of your pants making shit work.
I love that. Because I didn't know that. I've never heard that version of the Vince where you did that ad lib and on the fly.
Yes. Yes. Some said something to Paul. Paul's like, well, go ahead. If you're going to go up there. I'm like, should I? I'm just going to go, whatever. And then I just said, fuck it. Give me your phone. And I went up there, grabbed the phone, went up there, and Arn, somebody here. It worked out.
Yeah, it makes
no
for
one
quite
ever
the
told me
visual
that. No one ever told me that to do that. No one. Fuck no.
That's fantastic. That makes
That's what
for quite
I
the visual
remember.
with you.
Nobody. I remember nobody telling me that, and I didn't even get hit over the head a lot by then.
Yeah, they weren't fighting Bull yet.
Well, no, I did. I just got back from Japan. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yes, you did, because that's how you came into WCW. But then this all worked out. Now, Medusa, I'll ask you, and we're going to wrap up because we're going to talk about why we spoke about Sting. But I want to ask you one final question. You gave
No.
up wrestling to be the manager of the Dangerous Alliance, to be 007, to be you. You gave up the wrestling to be this character. Do you regret it, or was it worth every single minute?
Well, I didn't have a choice. So that's misconception. No, I was told to do it, and I'm glad I did because wrestling wasn't happening for me. Okay, we'll bring her in for this, or let's do this with her. Yeah. So okay, so I had to do it, and I enjoyed it, and the biggest moments, big highlight, big transition, help mold me and bring me who I was, and I don't regret that part at all. Mm-mm, not at all. I just wish it would have lasted longer.
Yeah, maybe that was a better way to ask that is, I mean, do you have any resentment toward the fact you were put in this position, or is the resentment simply that it was working and then WCW said, "Fuck y'all, we cutting it off."
Probably all of that.
I
There
got
wasn't
you.
any like
All of that.
resentment me. There wasn't any resentment getting the position, but there was like questions of what the fuck's going on, like why this, what? There was it was something deeper. Maybe that's a question for Arn. He would know. He would know more than me about, why that what happened. Maybe he has his theory and don't know. Who knows? That'd be a great question for him.
His answer is very simple: a long drink of water, and Bill Watts didn't want to do it anymore. That's his
what I said
answer.
earlier. It was all Bill Watts.
Yeah.
Unless
That's
there's
Arn's
something
answer
else.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I was
And we can't
right.
and we can't ask Rude, and we can't ask Bobby, unfortunately, because they're both gone. Maybe we'll ask Heyman. How about that? Maybe we'll ask Paul. We'll find
Maybe
him.
we'll
You
ask
got his
Paul
number.
someday. Yeah. Hey,
You got his
Paul.
number.
I
You
do.
remember the first time I actually met Medusa, but she didn't know I was there. I was on the Orange show with her, and she's big timing Arn Anderson on his show because she's on the phone with Paul Heyman, and she literally, we're on the Zoom call, and she says, "Hold on, it's Paul Heyman," and she's mouthing this to Arn, and Arn's like, "Deuce, I'm on the clock with Aaron. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go." It's all
Hold
very
on,
fun
Paul's calling. God damn it.
but Paul was calling. This has been a great conversation about Sting. And the reason we're talking about Sting, August 19th through the 21st, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's the Cauliflower Alley Club. Iron Mike Mazurki Award winner is the man called Sting. I'm going to read something very quickly, and Medusa's going to respond. The Cauliflower Alley Club mission statement is to financially assist CAC members and non-members that made a full-time living in wrestling for at least 3 years and who have fallen on difficult financial times. The executive board may financially assist other people from wrestling industry that do not meet the 3-year criteria on a case-by-case request, and to be determined by majority rule of the executive board. Moreover, the CAC is staffed entirely by volunteers and who tirelessly devote their time and energy to the stated cause of the CAC. In addition, the CAC is monetarily supported by the generous donations made by its members and donors. The CAC appreciates these contributions of both time and monetary resources. So, ma'am, you are on the
Ooh.
board of the CAC. They do great work. Talk to us about it. Tell us about the Cauliflower Alley Club.
Oh, thank you. So a couple years ago, I was up for an award with the CAC, and I knew about the CAC for so many years, but again, my schedule never permitted, and I've always wanted to, take a step back, breathe, and be a part. Well, finally, one year, fast forward, Brian called, said, "Deuce, how you doing? Blah blah blah." And Brian's such a great guy. I love him. And he said, "We have an award for you from the Cauliflower Alley Club, and we would like to honor you at the Mike Mazurki Award." I was like, "Whoa!" Like women don't get that award, right? So, I'm like, I'm totally honored and blah blah blah. So yeah, so that's how the relationship started, and I started going every year. I became a lifetime member. And now I just was so much, going there every year and just putting in so much time and energy and love that and the passion that I have is I just started working with them, and quickly they adopted me to say, "Hey, are you interested in becoming on the board?" And so yeah, so now I'm a head of talent relations. And it's a very busy organization, and we have one big event a year, with a few intermittent things going on, which I really want to start exercising and open up more situations, more events and seminars, and educating people. I would love to see the CAC within our business, and having the organizations, the AEW, the TNAs, the every independent organization be a part of the CAC, because this is our business. We are no different than something like giving back and helping our own on hard fallen times. We've donated and helped over $1 million already to people in our business. And it just brings so much, warmth and love to know that we can help people out. I mean, if it's at a time that one of our wrestlers passed away and family didn't have money to bury, or, it just goes on, and it just so many different situations. So we exercise every case, and it's spoke about to the board, and they make their decisions very carefully, and um, very carefully. And so us putting on the event once a year in Las Vegas it's just growing and growing and growing. Each year we have new awards. We have tons of awards, but we don't exercise them every year. Like, let's say let's say there's the announcers award. So there's a new award this year called the Jim Ross Announcers Award. So the award is named after Jim Ross, and each year there'll be a new award, or maybe it might, every 2 years there might be, or every 3, or every year, who knows? But we have so many, but we have like 12 awards that is hand out to the honorees. And so this year, the Iron Mike Mazurki Award is going to Sting. And the Luthez Art Abrams Award is going to Kurt Angle. So all of these talents are confirmed, and they are going to be here. And this is a great opportunity for people of all walks of life that want to give back. And it's a 2-day event. There are seminars. There's the banquet. There's one-on-one time with different of the different pieces of the tap pieces, different people, and with the talent. And there's gaming going on. There's just so many different events. So if you need to go to caulifloweralley.org and really check out our website, and all the information's on there. So let's continue. So the Carl Lauer Independent Promoters Award is David McLean. Now, if you don't know who David McLean is, oh my God, you're living under a rock. So David McLean is the ones that started WOW way back in the day. So David McLean, I'm so excited for this one, because that guy's brain is unbelievable. But he's there, and he's going to be accepting the award. Then Jim Ross, the Announcers Award, is actually Jim Ross. And so this here is so exciting. Our first year on this award is an Announcers Award, and Jim Ross himself is going to accept it. This year, the Women's Wrestling Award is going to Allison Danger. Oh my God. Talk about what a smart woman in this business, and has given so much. Tag Team Award, the Dudley Boys are going to be there as well. Men's Wrestling Award is Marcus Alexander Buff Bagwell. And we have the Lucha Libre Award, which is Negra Casas. And the Red Bastille Friendship Award is going to Lori McGee Hurst. So we have a huge lineup this year. And so we break it up in 2 nights because it's so much. We have 6 awards on one night, 6 on the other. You have your awards, you have your speeches, you have happy hour, there's just so much going on. So I highly just, if you haven't, please check it out and read all about us on there and how to become a member under the memberships department. And it'll tell you how to do that, an annual membership or a lifetime membership. And it gives all the names on who are lifetime members. I know it's like around $300 or $400, I think, or so. It may have went up for a lifetime membership, but and also it just, all the money goes to great people of this business. And I can't think of any other thing that really does this. I can't think of any other organization that does something like this. And the only thing I can think of is maybe the SAG. And it's like an insurance, like for actors and entertainers. But unless you're acting and you're accepted in the SAG and you have your insurance, then, but this is something different to help in hard times. So again, I highly recommend, if you never come out and check this out one year, please do. If you can't make it out this year in August, I definitely would say for 2025. And I am so honored to be a part. You need to come out, Big Red.
I definitely do, because Las Vegas is a great city to have fun
That
in,
too.
and I love professional wrestling. This
And
is
we do have
one thing I
wrestling
want to close.
too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. This is the one thing I want to close down on, Deuce. Your Mike Mazurki Award, since we talked about Sting tonight. The nominee must be immediately recognizable both to those in wrestling and to many people outside wrestling. Well, damn it if that doesn't describe Steve Borden and the man called Sting.
I know, right? I know. And it's just like incredible. There's just, they really think hard. Like when we get together, it's like, who do you think now, who has earned this? And you got to really think hard. You know what I mean? And so these are prestigious awards, like the Mike Mazurk and, the Bastine. And it makes you, I don't know. It just makes you very, very, like being in the Hall of Fame as WWE was very rewarding and, and exciting. But again, this is it's on a more calmer level. Like you're not stepping into that big showboat type of thing when you're getting your award, but it's black tie. It's women dressing up in their gowns. It's all that on both nights, having a good time. But the sting, no pun intended, isn't there. Like you're able to cut loose and have fun in your speeches. It's not so stuffy. It's just a really, really good time.
It sounds amazing, and I certainly do need to become a member, because I'm not of the Cauliflower Alley Club, but after talking with you and reading about what they do, particularly knowing we were going to talk about Sting this week.
I mean, where else can you go and, as a fan, become a lifetime member, and every year you could get to go and you get to meet your favorite. You know what I mean? And you're sitting in the same room having dinner with them.
And they do good work.
You can't even make yes.
Do good work.
And the fans are they're so good. They're not out of hand. They're very respectful.
Mm-hmm. And that's the type of wrestling fans I like personally. The knowledgeable ones, the ones that want to give people their time, give people their space, let you have the moment, breathe in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo Brown is Melina. I mean, everybody is open to a position sometime or another, So, I mean, never say never.
Never say never. But what we will say is that it is a special day for Medusa and her husband. Happy anniversary. And we are going to wrap.
Happy anniversary, baby. I got him on my mind.
And she gave us 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 32 seconds. So at this point in time, guys, we're going to shut this show down. We're going to thank you. Remember to come to onetruesport.com. If you like what we're doing, give us a test drive. Multiple levels, lots of good benefits. I will be somebody
Woo!
who is a conduit for you to the management team and the ownership. Go to Medusa.com. Check out the merchandise we have there. We just saw live on the air the shirt we're going to have at One True Sport for Medusa. You can pick up her book.
Finally, the t-shirt's done. Sloppy seconds, number 2.
Okay.
You can pick her book up on Amazon, The Woman Who Would Be King, forward by Paul Heyman, name, title, inspired by Paul Heyman, written and told by Medusa. You'll be able to pick her audiobook up in the fall.
Yes.
And again,
just got done recording my audiobook. Oh, let me tell you, the microphone was awesome because it was like this. Blah, blah, and it sounded just like this. And then when I got heated about something, I'd say, that motherfucker can just blow it out his goddamn ass. And it was stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
She was very excited. I got to text her while she was doing all this. So, I said, lots of things to look at. It's very easy, guys. Medusa.com, onetruesport.com. Look, and he wasn't on this show, but she worked with him. Dustin Rhodes spent an hour with the traveling champs of One True Sport the other day. An intimate time, 5-minute answers. Didn't cut anybody short. Everybody got their question. And those are the types of things we're looking to do. Medusa's going to be involved in some of that. We obviously got to get her hooked up with Magnum, guys, for this Power Town deal. So send us some suggestions, send us some ideas, and we'll be back here in a couple of weeks on Paving the Way. So we'll see y'all.
Peace out.